Hello.
Hi.
Welcome in. Hey, Sky. Hey, Jack. Welcome. So nice to have you both here live. Looking so cozy. I love it.
Got my hoodie on. It's freezing up here.
And you're up north further than us. So
Yes.
you can imagine how much colder it's down here too.
Yes, it's cold.
Nice to have you online. So I'm recording. I'm going to pin my screen so you guys stay nice and private. Welcome in. So just as a little Zoom intro, I'm sure you've all used Zoom before, but you don't have to have your video on the whole time. You'll mostly stay muted. So the spotlight of the recording will stay on me. And you're welcome to participate as much or as little as you want. There's no rules, there's no expectations. This is about you being here and accessing rest for yourself. And everything's invitational. Like I said, there's no rules. The way that I teach is very invitational and very accessible and really towards a way that makes you feel good for your body, knowing that your body is completely individual and different to everyone else in all the best ways. So I did mention in one of the emails that for anyone live here with us tonight, you get a chance to go in the Winning to Run, a free rest reset with me. So take a photo of your rest setup, either tonight or something that you set yourself up with over the next 24 hours and tag me in it on social media and share something that you take away or that you learn from tonight. And I'd love to see what you guys come up with. And then for anyone watching the recording, please still do this because I love hearing what people take away from these sessions. It always just blows my mind what lands for people and how different it can be. So my name's Sarah. Hi. I guess you're probably wondering why I'm so deeply interested in and devoted to rest. And there might be, just as a prelude, there might be a few other people dropping in every now and then to the live session. But I used to be called a slow worker a lot. And at the start, that was really embarrassing, of course. But I was always asked to work harder and faster. And I was always really confused as to why I had to sacrifice my nervous system and my general, levels of feeling good in my body and my satisfaction with my job, because for them, working faster and harder meant more sales, happier customers, happier colleagues, because everyone likes a fast and hard worker, right? But like I said, for me, it meant busting my ass at the expense of my nervous system and my energy levels and my job satisfaction. So that was quite confusing. And eventually, of course, I became a fast worker and then judged everybody else because that's what we do, right? When we don't know any better. And I would find it hard to rest when I tried, because rest meant you're lazy, you're unproductive, you're unworthy of your rest. You don't deserve your rest unless you've really earned it first. You're not valuable in society. And to be resting while everyone else is busting their ass working 8 to 6 with 3 kids in tow, that's like totally privileged. So I found it really hard to rest because of the self-judgment and of the judgment from other people. And eventually I also found it hard to stop, to pause, because when you stop, your body might stop, but your mind doesn't. Am I right or am I right? It's really hard to stop the mind because we're constantly going. It's easier to keep going. But what I came to realize is that it's not actually my fault. It wasn't my fault that I found it really hard to find rest and slowness and pause. And it wasn't my fault that I found it really hard to rest. And actually, it's not your fault either. It's not your fault that you find it really difficult to access rest and go slow and to pause and to stop. And this is because the systems and the structures that are in place in this world that we live in, this attention economy, this is all built to keep you distracted and keep you disconnected and keep you working hard for the gain of others, right? And because of my science and environmental background, I was really struck by this fact that rest, nervous system, self-sustainability, environmental sustainability was so deeply interwoven with the way that our societal environments and systems dictate the way that we live within our bodies and within this world. So I'm just going to pause there for a sec and let that land for everyone. Maybe you want to have a little shimmy. These are big topics, and sometimes they can make us feel uncomfortable, especially when maybe it's the first time that we've heard things like this. If you haven't been following me on social media, then it probably is the first time that you're hearing ideas like this. So for those of you that are live, if you feel comfortable doing so, I invite you to just type in the chat how you're feeling right now in terms of your energy levels, and also, and it can be one word, and also how you feel right now about the idea of stopping or slowing down or resting or self-care. How does that sit for you? And it can just be one or two words. It doesn't need to be a whole dissertation. And of course, if you don't want to share, that's totally fine. So go ahead and type in if you'd like to. And aside from feelings of general exhaustion or tiredness that we might feel when we're not sort of tending to our bodies, you may also notice that your weekends maybe are becoming more about recovering and not enjoyment, recovering from the week. You may notice that you're feeling a little more agitated and reactive than responsive. You may have brain fog, brain fatigue, might be really hard to concentrate or just deep think in general and find creativity, overwhelm, overstimulated, overcommitted, placing value and requirements on allowing yourself to rest, like I'll rest when. Maybe feelings of being out of alignment or off course with where you truly want to be. And Jackie says she wants to get better at resting for sure. You're in the right place, girl. Thanks. Thanks for sharing. So when you're feeling unrested as well, you might also notice that it's really hard to connect deeply with other people. It's really hard to have the capacity to be around other people, especially when you're around them all day and they're draining you of your energy if they're consistently asking you to work harder and faster. You might notice that when you're unrested, it's really hard to do the things that you love and enjoy. And when you do get to do them, it's hard to actually enjoy it. You may be unable to think deeply about what values and purpose and goals that you want to follow and to stay in alignment with yourself. You might find it really hard to help others or yourself. So you can start to see how all these things within our life become so impacted when we're not looking after ourselves. And of course, that's easy to say and easy to kind of reflect on, but the reality is that this is what's happening. So tonight is hopefully just a little bit of an insight into why it's really important that you continue to commit to looking after yourself and to commit to resting, and rest in the sense of self-care in general, not that you need to go and have a nap or be horizontal. I'm not talking about that kind of rest. I'm talking about a general sense of feeling good and doing what makes you feel good, doing what fills your cup in all the ways. And there's like millions of ways that you can do this, but we won't go into all of them tonight because we'll be here all night. Even though I would love that, honestly, it was really hard to cut this down to 60 minutes. I actually have notes to keep me on track because I tend to go down rabbit holes. Just ask any of my breath workshop students, they'll giggle at that. So our bodies and our nervous systems, our brains, our social biology, we're not built or evolved to run at and withstand this current pace of society. Our brains can't literally multitask. There's a little bit of science there for you. Our brains can't multitask. Every time you're switching between or pretending to be focusing on two things at once, your brain is actually just switching focus between one thing and the other. And that's utilizing resources within the brain, which is then leading to that feeling of brain fatigue. Your brain's like, oh, I need to reboost. I'm sorry, but multitasking isn't real. So your body can't keep going and going. You have finite resources in that beautiful body of yours. And this community, this society can't handle everyone being stressed either all of the time, because a bunch of stressed humans is a bunch of humans that are disconnected because we can't connect. We're so stressed and disconnected from ourselves that we find it hard to connect with others. So after all that, after my little story at the start, after knowing that I knew that I needed rest and still fighting against this current of fast-paced society and workplaces, I knew it was going to be super challenging and you have to start somewhere. So I found ways to rest amongst the chaos. But hence the name of the session tonight. I found ways of integrating more ease into my day within the tasks themselves. I didn't need more breaks, although that would be amazing. I didn't need more time or less work necessarily. I didn't need to feel zen or, stillness before I came into like a mini rest break or something, It didn't have to be super yogi meditation like to rest. I found ways to stay connected and present and somewhat at ease and aligned with my values and with the capacity to use my days off as actual days off instead of like recovering through micro practices of rest. And that's what we'll be doing tonight. And like I said, when I say rest, I don't mean going to sleep. I don't mean a 75-minute yoga class every single day. That's like not doable, even for me, a yoga teacher. I'm not talking about a whole weekend away, your whole 3 weeks of holidays every year, once a year. I'm not talking about you need time without kids or commitments or jobs or anything. Saying yes to rest doesn't mean saying no to getting shit done. It doesn't mean saying no to working. It doesn't mean saying no to spending time with your kids or your loved ones. It doesn't mean saying no to anything. Although eventually, hopefully, that's where you can slowly lead into. but I won't go into that tonight. So tonight's all about moving towards slow living and a life that is more sustainable for you energetically. Starting to find more ease and rest within your day. Because I really truly believe that a rested human is a really powerful human. In all the good ways. And that's really scary for the structures and the systems around us. And I won't go too much further into that tonight. So tonight we're going to do a few practices of nervous system regulation. And this includes movement, breath, and sound, which sounds really ambiguous, right? Which also is a great reminder that, yeah, it's really ambiguous, which means it's really accessible. There are so many ways that you can do this. I'll just show you like a little snippet. And because it's so ambiguous, movement, breath, and sound, also, did you notice that we already have all three of these things? We can create all three of these things already. We have it. We have a body that breathes, that moves, and that makes sound. So hopefully this is also a chance for you to start moving towards a place where you feel comfortable to self-resource, to actually use your own tools and use tools from your body and within your body to rest and slow down and do these things when you need to do them. So I'm hoping to kind of hand over this self-empowerment to you. There'll be little practices woven together. We call them micro practices in the tantric lineage of yoga. They're little practices that you can use throughout your day. Some of them, you can use them while you're around other people and you'll notice which ones they are. Other ones you'll probably want to do in private unless you feel really confident to like go out and do them in public. And we'll switch between those two types, the kind of more private practices and more public practices. Usually the ones where you're moving around a lot or making noise are ones where you might want to like go off to a toilet cubicle or close your office door or go for a walk in the park and hide behind a tree or something on your lunch break. So all of these practices, you don't really need more time to do them. They're really short. They are practices of like 30 seconds up to 5 minutes. We'll just do little amounts of them tonight, just because of time restraints, of course. But they can be used within the tasks, within your day. So we're going to get started. So I'm going to invite you to stand. I'm going to shift this so you can actually see me. And we don't need heaps of space. And if you don't feel like standing right now, you can stay seated. Some of you might be super cozy in bed and ready to go to sleep. So you can stay seated if you want. So standing up and just allowing the feet to be roughly hip width distance apart. Maybe rocking side to side a little, feeling into the connection between your feet and the floor. And just before we begin, taking a moment to take a little body scan. So you can keep the eyes open if you want, or you can close them down. And just noticing how the body feels right now before we've moved or breathed or done anything. And knowing that if it feels really uncomfortable to focus on the inside, you're always welcome to stay focused to the outside, maybe finding a point somewhere in the room. And then once you've taken that little body scan, you're starting to look around the room that you're in. So this might sound really easy and you're like, okay, what are we doing? But you're literally orienting your body to the space around you. So noticing the windows, the doors, noticing every object within the room, the couch, the bed, the kitchen sink, whichever room you're in. Maybe even looking out the windows and even starting to twist around in your body and look behind you, look down at the ground. Orienting yourself into this space and really signaling to the nervous system that this is a safe space. Your body is constantly scanning for threats, naturally. This is what we're built to do. Our nervous system is built to keep us safe. So just looking around and showing your nervous system that, hey, yeah, we're okay, we're safe. We're in the same room that we're always in when we do our things online, or we practice, or we, go to sleep, or whatever we're doing. And then once you've had a good look around, maybe finding somewhere you'd like to focus your gaze. If closing your eyes feels really uncomfortable, otherwise maybe starting to close the eyes and just starting to sway a little on your feet side to side and front to back, shifting the weight around the entire base of your foot. Playing with your balance, playing with your center of gravity, finding a sense of connection between both feet. If you're seated, you're just swaying side to side in your seat. And then slowly coming towards center, maybe a little bend in the knees, just really grounding down, feeling down into that base, into that support. And then as you come towards stillness, gently drawing one hand to rest on the top of your head, on your crown, just with about 5% pressure. One hand to rest to your low belly, if that feels okay. And then a gentle drawing down of the tailbone towards the ground. So the tailbone is pointing down, and you reach up through the crown, grounding through both feet. And then soften the belly. Allow the belly to be soft and full underneath that bottom hand on your belly, long through the crown, grounded through the feet, soft in the belly. And then you can either keep your hands here as a bit of tactile touch or allow them to release down by your sides, continuing to find that length, softening shoulders down, maybe rolling them up, down, back, maybe a couple of times, rooting down as you simultaneously reach up and lengthen, finding a central place for your body to rest. A softness in the belly to allow the body to breathe. And as you center yourself here in this moment in your body, starting to maybe notice the breath, breathing in and out. Maybe you notice it just through your nostrils or through your mouth. Maybe you'd like to even follow the breath as it travels down through the center of the body and then back out. Centering yourself through your breath as well, if that feels okay. And as we rest here, tall, grounded, safe, centered, And starting to bring ourselves back towards our body or back into our body. Acknowledging the traditional custodians that we rest on, the country that we rest on tonight. And for myself, it's the Bangla country, Bangla people. And for you, it might be different. So taking a moment here to acknowledge the country that you practice on. And continue to soften belly, reach through the crown, ground through the feet. Centered, grounded, soft. And then if the eyes are closed, just gently beginning to open them again. And then slowly beginning to shift your weight into the left foot and then into the right foot. Starting to balance side to side, maybe even lifting the heel as you go and rock over to the other side. And then keep one foot grounded and start to lift one knee if that feels accessible for you, and then lifting the other, kind of like a walking motion. It can be as slow or as fast as you like. If you're seated, just continue with the rocking motion side to side. If you find it hard to balance, you can keep the feet on the floor and just keep rocking. And then starting to sweep opposite arm towards opposite knee, opposite leg. As you balance side to side, watching the arm and the hand as it moves and shifts. This cross-lateral movement, balancing side to side, soft through the belly, long through the spine. Allow yourself to continue breathing. Notice if you hold your breath here. This side to side cross-lateral movement is really great for stopping the constant mind cycles. Also for integrating both hemispheres of the brain and hence both sides of the nervous system. You can go super slow. You might even like to bring some circular movement into it, sweeping the arms round and round. Nice, keep going here, just a few more times. And then slowly coming back towards stillness. Maybe closing the eyes again and just rocking a little side to side still if that feels nice. These rocking movements are really soothing for the nervous system. Soothing for our more primal, ancient nervous system that still lives within our body. Still is there to protect us, even though we're not living out in the forest, in the wild anymore. And from here, just a couple of breath techniques just to soothe our nervous system even more. And so this will be incorporating a bit of sound. So if you don't feel comfortable making sound, then by all means, you can just kind of do your own thing and then practice this when you feel more comfortable somewhere else. But the first practice is horse lips. It's definitely as it sounds. And the next practice will be the bee breath. And horse lips is, I'll demonstrate. And then the bee breath is a long hum for the entire length of the exhale. Really humming for the entire length, letting all of the air out, and the breath in is natural in between. We'll do 3 rounds of horse breath and then 3 rounds of the bee breath. Brahmari is the Sanskrit word, sorry. So in your own time, or you can follow along with me. You might even like to shake your shoulders and relax the shoulders as you go. Really soft the belly as you inhale. Softening the jaw, unclenching the jaw. One more. Natural breath in and out. Continuing to breathe at your own pace. Noticing how everything feels. Taking a moment to notice and observe. Noticing the breath. Maybe it feels a little softer, a little longer. Maybe it feels the same or like nothing's changed. Noticing how the body feels. And also the mind. Making a little side note for yourself, or maybe even writing stuff down, writing how you're feeling or any change. And then slowly starting to make your way down into a seat. Really slowly, of course. This is all about slowness and rest. Coming to sit in a comfortable seat. And the legs can be crossed or straight out in front of you. I'm just going to show you what I'm doing with my legs here. I invite you to bring flat palms to your thighs if that feels okay. And then just start to press gently down into the thighs as you rock slightly forwards. And then as you rock back, releasing the pressure. And then maybe sliding the hands up a little, rocking forwards, pressing down, maybe with about 5% pressure or a little more. And then rocking back. Pressing down, rocking back. And you can do this a few more times. Giving yourself a little self-massage as you go. Moving across the thigh. If it feels a little uncomfortable, bringing pressure to the thigh, you could just slide the hands up and back as you rock. Maybe closing the eyes if that feels okay. And maybe even allowing the breath to follow the movement. Maybe you inhale with a forwards movement, exhale as you come back. You could increase the pace, you could slow the pace down. There's no real rules here about how quick or slow you go. Once again, this rocking motion is really soothing for the nervous system, or can be soothing. I'm just taking a few more rocks here. maybe even squeezing as you press down, really making it a little more massagey or enjoyable for the muscles, if that feels okay. And then slowly starting to come back towards center, towards stillness. And then continuing with this rocking motion, we're just going to go side to side. So the hands can rest any way you like. And we just start to rock side to side. It can be really subtly, or the rocking motion could be a lot wider. You could be going really slowly, or you could pick up the pace just a little, just to have a little bit more momentum. Continuing to breathe and maybe move with your breath. A really great way to release breath tension or any feelings of sort of ease in the breath is to really link it with movement, because it gets you out of your head and back into your body. And there isn't really a chance for you to overthink the breath too much, just moving and breathing as feels good for you. And so the repetitive movement, whatever it is, whether it's rocking or doing the same movement or even running or walking, it's a great way to regulate not only your nervous system, but your breath. And then slowly coming towards stillness and towards center again. And so maybe you slow the rock down. Just make it really smooth and easeful. There's no need to abruptly come back to center. Everything is slow. And maybe you come towards stillness and you notice that your body wants to continue to rock. You can keep going if you like. And from here, just finding a smooth breath, not a deep breath or a full breath or a good breath, just a smooth breath, softening the belly, softening the shoulders down. And from here, we're going to practice lengthening our exhale. Another great way to soothe the nervous system. Lengthening the exhale. And all we're going to do is inhale for 4. Exhale, we'll do for 6. Inhale 4, exhale 6. And I'll guide you through a few rounds. And then we'll come back to a natural breath. So natural breath in and out here, wherever you are. And then as you're ready, inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 4. Exhale 6. Soften the shoulders, soften the brow. Inhale 4. Exhale 6. Soften the hips, the belly. Inhale 4. Soft belly. Exhale 6. Inhale 4. Long through the spine. Exhale 6. Inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 4. Last time. Exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale naturally, completely. Exhale, let it go. Natural breath in, natural breath out. Continue breathing, smooth breaths. Maybe noticing if the breath wants to stay longer on the exhale. And taking another little body scan, noticing how everything feels. Noticing which little practice felt most useful for you in that last bit. And then slowly, if you have your eyes closed or if they're open, just bringing a gentle bow to the head. So you're gazing towards the floor, gently flickering the eyes open, and just bring open palms back to the thighs and start grounding yourself back in by bringing a little pressure back to the thighs as maybe you rock a little backwards and forwards again. Just waking the body, grounding the body back in, grounding back into contact, grounding back into gravity. And then slowly starting to gaze back around the room before you come back to the screen. Looking around, orienting yourself back into the space, looking to all the windows, the doors, the floor, the ceiling. Really taking your time, maybe rocking a little. I always notice myself rocking after practices like these. And you can keep gazing elsewhere in the room if you're not ready to come back to the screen. Screens can be a lot, I know. But I'd really love for you to reflect on how you feel right now, and whether that's just sitting with how you're feeling in your body, your breath, your mind. Maybe you want to write something down. And if you feel comfortable to, I'd love for you to type in the chat box how you're feeling and how things have changed from the beginning. If there was a word you felt at the start and now there's a word you're feeling now, that change. And then my next question or next reflection prompt might be completing this sentence, either with a sentence or with a word. When I am rested, I feel, or I am. Maybe you want to feel into that, or maybe that's for later. Completely up to you. And so just take a moment here. Feeling very calm, at ease. Awesome. That's what I like to hear. But also really recognizing as well that these sorts of practices might feel really uncomfortable to begin with. They're new to the body. They're also tapping into the nervous system. So they might be bringing things up that the body's like, whoa, I haven't felt this before. Or even just coming back into the body can feel really uncomfortable for people. because we spend our life so disconnected. We spend our life on our phone, on the screen, and not noticing what's going on the inside. So I'm really recognizing and acknowledging as well that there might be a lot of you that are not feeling calm and are not feeling at ease, and that's okay. And please reach out and say hi and let me know, and hopefully I can maybe help you with feeling a little bit more at ease. Awesome, thank you for that. So this is like something to hold on to. This can be your why. This can be your motivation to keep coming back to rest, to ease, to moments within your day where you bring these little practices in, bringing the horse breath in, bringing the bee breath in, doing a little rock in your seat when you're at your desk, or a little thigh kind of massage rock, or when you're having a conversation with someone and you're feeling a little overwhelmed and a little like overpowered by them, finding that long spine, softness in the belly, allowing the breath to continue. A lot of the time when we get stressed, we tighten up, we tense up, we kind of close off. And see, even as I did that, my body caved in. Our posture has a lot to do with our nervous system. And if we can show our body through the way that we hold ourselves, the way that we orient ourselves in the space that we're in, the way that we use our body, we can actually show our nervous system that we're actually okay. This person that's maybe trying to overpower us, like they're not actually threatening us, that they're not going to kill us, hopefully. So all these little practices, they can come in anytime. You only need 30 seconds or longer if you have it. So this is why I call it how to rest amongst the chaos. So rest and slow living are access points for living a more connected, embodied, abundant, present, awake, pleasure-filled, vitality-filled life. When we're more rested and more connected, we can feel more, which can be uncomfortable, but also really important. We can be more discerning. We're more clear in our thinking. We're also more clear in what we want, what we desire, what our needs are, what our values are. And because we feel better, we're not constantly externally reaching for things to fill the void of disconnection. So we're living more sustainably in the world, which I love. And so, like we've just experienced, hopefully, rest doesn't need to be doing anything. We don't need to do more or less necessarily. It's these little micro practices that we can bring into our already doing self. And when we bring these micro practices in, we're bringing rest into our life and integrating it and embodying it into our life. And it becomes a way of life. It becomes our being. And this is why I call it rest as being rather than doing. And we start to live more from a rested place because we're constantly coming back to this rested place time and time again, moment by moment. So how you feel now, which hopefully you're feeling a little bit more at ease, a little bit more maybe open and present and connected and feeling good and calm and maybe even awake and like super aware of everything around you in a good way. This is how I want you to feel every day, every moment, every week, every like waking moment, you know. This is it. But to be in this place where we can live from rest as being requires embodiment and integration. It requires time. It requires going slowly and little bits at a time. We need to go slowly with going slowly. Because like I said, it can be really hard when we slow down. If we're constantly going super fast, the mind is like, whoa, like we can't stop. We got to keep going. So we need to go slowly with going slowly. And there's also a lot to unravel and unlearn at the same time as embodying and integrating and relearning. But we can't just do it once and be done with it. Like, I'm no expert. Yes, I'm a yoga teacher. I'm a breathwork teacher. I'm a scientist, but I'm not an expert. I'm still in process. I'm still on this journey of slowing down, embodying the rest, and bringing it into every aspect of my life. You need to commit. It's like a lifetime of commitment, as daunting as that may sound, but it's little micro practices, little moments anywhere. So I'd love to know if anybody has any questions at all, like anything related or not. Please hit me with anything you got. Otherwise, I'll keep going. If there's anything, any practices that we did that you have questions about, or any topics that we discussed. Otherwise, my question to you, and you can type anything in the chat box at any time. If you've got stuff brewing, just type it out. My question to you is, now that you know why rest is important, now that you know maybe how it feels to rest a little more, and maybe now that you know how to integrate it a little more, does it feel possible? Does it feel integratable? Do you feel like you could do this? And be honest. Like, what's still maybe holding you back from accessing rest in your day or allowing yourself to rest? There's a lot of walls out there. There's a lot of barriers, a lot of brick walls that we have to climb over to access rest. We'll just let all of that land for a little moment if anyone has any questions. I think understanding that rest doesn't have to be an hour-long yoga or meditation session is helpful. Totally. It just opens up this whole new world of possibility. I think for me, it's the consistency of keep coming back to awareness and present moment all the time. Just keep coming back. Yeah. And we have so much around us that's going to keep distracting us and pulling us away from that self-reminder of continuing to come back. So setting up systems within our day and systems within our life, within the systems that are around us, is really helpful to keep this practice of rest going, even when we're so distracted, even when there's so much going on. Setting up your own systems of rest or reminders of rest is really helpful. And yeah, I'm also on a journey of helping my students find calm in their hectic little lives. Totally. I actually did a yoga session with year 10s on Wednesday, and wow, it was an experience. But the thing that really brought them back was breathing, breath techniques, literally the one that, actually, no, not the one we did tonight, a different one. Breath, the simplest thing, we have it with us all day, every day, our entire life. It's here at any moment, and we can use it. We can tap into it and we can use it, and it can be so powerful in both ways, good and bad. If we use it properly, super powerful. If it uses us, really powerful also, but not in great ways. So learning how to integrate everything into your life and how to stay on track with your practices and the consistency of coming back, and also having this support around us, this community. Like here, we've been able to share with each other, like, this is how I'm feeling, this is what my struggles are, and this is what I'm going to try and keep doing to continue on. So it's really inspirational and motivational, and knowing that there's other people out there doing the same thing and we're not alone. Because beforehand, we probably found it really hard to rest because everyone else around us is running the pace, is running the fast, crazy lifestyle. And so we're going to constantly feel judgy towards ourselves when we don't have that support system around us to bring us back and to remind us, hey, man, like resting and going slow is like the work. A slow and rested earth and community and society is a really powerful society. So I've actually created, and this is not going to surprise you at all, I've created a whole course around this, a whole 3 months of learning about all of these different practices that we can use. We've just seen tonight that we feel calmer and more at ease after, like, we literally practiced for about 20 minutes max. And that was just once. Imagine learning different practices you can bring into your day for like so many different situations, moments, both in your body, but also practices that you can bring into your day in your systems. Like I was saying before, we don't necessarily have to have like body-based practices to practice rest in our life. Actually being able to effectively bring it into our systems and the structures that are already living, that we're already living with and through, our planner, our meetings, the diary that we live our life by, our kids' planners and calendars, and also learning how to bring it into your day in a sustainable and effective way. It's not as easy as just booking a massage appointment, although I wish it was. So it's a 3-month series because it's a slow integration. Like I was saying, we can't just do it once and be done. We need to do it consistently over a long period of time to actually embody it. Do it 300 times and it becomes, what's the saying? Do it 300 times and it becomes a habit, 3,000 times and it becomes embodied. So the more that we practice and the more support that we have around us, the easier it is for us to actually bring it into our life from a place where we're rested as being, right? So we're actually going to start in ceremony, the winter solstice, one of my favorite times of year. And resting is ceremonial for the body. And one of the ways that I love bringing rest into my life is through ceremony. So ceremony is weaving itself into this 3-month-long series. And I don't call it a course because, like, we don't want to be checking stuff off the list, doing homework, like making sure that we're getting stuff done. It's more about you committing yourself to these practices. Literally, it's 60 minutes a week. It's what you've just done tonight. You've committed to 60 minutes this week. And then the little tiny micro practices that you bring into your day around that, right? So because I'm so sciencey, there's going to be a lot of Western science, but also Eastern science, the more traditional philosophical, spiritual ways of looking at rest. Of course, my yogic background, but also this broader lens of looking at rest and how we connect more to our wider ecosystems, the more universal connections around us. Maybe it sounds a little bit woo-woo, but trust me, once you broaden your perspective on what rest can really mean, it's mind-blowing. And this is really kind of supported and built on this foundation of community, because like I said, we're just going to constantly judge ourselves unless we have those reminders and those people around us as support. Even nervous system regulation comes from human interaction, co-regulating with other people. And this is done through an online platform. All of this is online, so it's super accessible wherever you are in the world. And this support is here for you to help you transform yourself from overstimulated, overwhelmed, and overcommitted to a more abundant, aligned, and awake self through the use of all these body-based practices like we did tonight, breath techniques, mindfulness and mindful meditation, boundary setting as well, which I briefly mentioned, optimal scheduling techniques, and this self-empowering journey. We're moving more towards this abundant, aligned, and awake life, resting from being rather than resting from doing. It's all live and recorded. And this community part is really important when everything out there, the external environment and society, is built to keep us from connecting back in here. Right? So I'm also, like I was saying tonight, self-empowerment is really important. We can do this once and I can guide you through, but you're on your own when you're out in the rest of your day. So although I'm here to guide you, I'm not here to hold your hand and tell you what's right from wrong. Your body is individual. Your body is unique. Your individual experience is valid and welcomed and nurtured. But you'll walk away with this sense of self-empowerment. Remember your self-autonomy and build confidence in self-resourcing, resourcing your own body, your breath, your sound, your movement, and ways of integrating all of this into your life and becoming more resilient to the chaos around you. So I'm just actually going to share something with you. Not my, although you will get a rest playlist. So it's called Embodying Rest. And It's the art of slow living and self-care from the winter equinox, the winter solstice to the spring equinox. And there'll be 10 live calls, 2 weeks for full integration. This is super slow, guys. We're going slow. There'll be your community page. And there's an early bird, so it's exclusive to you for the next 24 hours. All of you that have signed up for this masterclass, because you know the feeling, you know how rest feels now, hopefully, or you've had a little bit of a taster. And then after 24 hours, it will go to the public. And I'm only taking 10 people in. It's going to be slow, cozy. So I'm really opening the floor for any final questions. Hit me with anything you've got, whether it's about embodying rest or whether it's about everything that we've learned tonight, which is a lot. So I can understand if you're kind of like in your zone, ready to go to bed, ready to move off into the rest of your day. And for anyone live that is really keen on gaining that free rest reset with me, you have 24 hours to share your space, share your rest space, or how you're resting from what you've learned tonight. Anything that you learned from tonight and what you want to take away or what you have taken away. Do I need to be on social media for the 24-hour competition, for the rest reset, or thanks, Jack, see ya, or for the 3-month series? Let me know. For the 3-month series and connecting to community. No, definitely don't need to be on social media. So everything is fully online, and it will be through an online platform that isn't connected to social media at all. So the community will be like a community page within the platform that we'll be using. So you don't need to have Facebook, you don't need to have Instagram or Messenger or anything. All you need to have is an email and internet access, ideally. Great question. Any other questions at all? No worries. Thanks for asking. And anyone that's watching the replay, send through your questions, of course. You won't be able to access the rest reset competition, but please take photos of how you're resting, share it on social media, send it through to me, tag me, share what you've learned and what you're taking away. I'd love to see. Love to see what landed for you. Cool. Well, if there's no other questions, we might sign off and call it a night. I acknowledge we have gone 10 minutes over, and honestly, I'm totally not surprised. And I was planning this, I was like, okay, probably should have gone 75 minutes. I'll know for next time. Beautiful. All right, lovely people. Thanks for joining me here, whether you're doing the replay or you're watching live. Thanks for joining me. And I will be sending out an email with all of the information, the replay, all of the information about Embodying Rest. And yeah, it'll be there for you. It's open. You guys will have access, secret access to the early bird price for the next 24 hours. And then after that, I'll open it up to the public. So get your spot, one of 10 spots. And send through any questions at all. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much for coming. And hopefully see you again soon.